The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on.
He missed the complete. He's crazy.
As I said, Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
It's another short track Saturday night, and tonight we are under the lights. Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the USA International Speedway in Lakeland, Florida for round 3 of 11 on the 2015 Season 2 Championship for the Bootleg Racing League Outlaw Modified Series on a Global Sim Racing channel. As always, up in the GSRC booth this evening, alongside myself, Evan Pasocco, is Sean Ambrose, and our director this evening is Kevin Brown. Our camera operator, Dougie Beard, as always, bringing us all the angles this evening. Sean, we're coming off of 2-day races at 2 racetracks that I guess we can call all of these paper clips because, well, they're all ovals. USA, though, is very different with the banking. In reality, well, this racetrack's not even here, but these guys are going to put on a show. This is a short track that when you start your oval career on iRacing, you're thrust into this. This is the first one that you're going to be competing at when you're in a short track. Well, these guys are out once again in these SKs. A lot of time they have been out on this racetrack. It's probably one of the most driven short tracks on the service, and we get set for a 75-lap duel this evening.
And a duel it will be, Evan. This is a very fast track in the SK. You can turn a real hot one here in under 20 seconds, and I haven't seen anybody break 20 yet, but you can get into the mid-low 20s here with a really, really good run into these turns. Now, the banking here, it promotes a very almost a Talladega type like racing on this small track, but this is a 3/4 of a mile track and almost a super speedway for these guys. And how you get into these turns and how you get off of them in the early stages of this race will dictate how you run the last part of this race. And I expect to see a lot of guys going for broke in the closing laps tonight, Evan.
In this racetrack, you look at the track statistics, 0.75 miles, sits at 3/4 of a mile in length with 14 degrees of banking. This racetrack was demolished in early 2012, but it lives on in the spirit of the sim, and it's always exciting when you head to the USA International Speedway. We're coming 1 week off, though, of our second race in our championship from the Stafford Motor Speedway. We have updates on points, results, and all of that good stuff. It is Christopher Hensley who sits atop the pile with one checkered flag that came, well, just 1 week ago. He leads with 19 overall points. It is very close, though, from there on Max Sean because of the way that the point system works in this series. Take a look at the likes of Matt Hoos, Brad Speidel. They're tied for second, just 1 point off. And then Donnie Moore and Ryan Nuss, only 2 points off, essentially tied for third. So the top 5 within only 2 points of each other.
Well, I guess you could almost say this looks a little bit like Formula One scoring. You've got everybody bunched up here and all fighting for a championship. Only 3 races into this season, so this is going to be an exciting one tonight. We're going to see guys move up the board. We're going to maybe even see a couple guys move down the board. But that race by Hensley last week was key to getting a jump here in the championship series, as he is a point up. He could get a few more points up by the end of the night if he can get that Teamster machine up to the front tonight.
And that's the ultimate goal. We look forward now to round number 3. This is an 11 series race to the championship for the season 2 portion of this 2015 campaign. Still a long way to go before we crown a champion, and we talked about it last week. The likes of these tracks we're going to be going to: Thompson, Oxford, Langley, etc., all the way through. We close things out in June at the famed New Smyrna Speedway, but tonight on tap is the USA International Speedway. The drivers right now working through their 30-minute practice session warm-up for this event. You can see the time elapsed and the time remaining on the top left of your screen. Right now it's Ronald Henry who sits atop the pile right now in the number 75 Lone Star entry with a 20.706. Ernest Brown and Matt Hoos up there as well. Interesting when you speak about that Hoos entry because he enters this atop 3 in the championship standings. He's second behind Hensley. That is the exact same way their Crook Still Late Model Series Championship Series looks. Those guys were just on track prior to us going green, and both Hensley leads this series, he leads that series in points. Matt Hoos sits second in this one, he sits second in that one as well. So you're out on the same track with both of these vehicles, although they're different. The more track time, the better. Can Matt Hoos break through and maybe put it in victory lane? He has one of the best average finishes, but Brad Speidel may be one of the most underrated drivers in this series. The 76 not quite looking like he wants to right now, Sean. He's 10th on the board, but if you look at the statistics in our points, Christopher Hensley at the top has an average finish of 6th and an average start of 6th. Brad Speidel, average start of 2nd and an average finish of 3rd. That's the best numbers out of anybody, but the key is he's yet to get it in victory lane, and that's what the 76 wants to do tonight. 15 cars have entered, and if he's sitting P10 right now, if that's where he's going to grid up, and we'll get the results as it's a top 8 inversion from the prior week, we'll have to see where Speidel will end up. Maybe a long time coming through the field, because you mentioned before we went on air, it's a very easy track to hold your momentum at, Sean, and because of that, everyone is going to kind of settle into a rhythm, which means that if it's nice to do what you can do, people are going to try to find out what they can't, and that's what making passing will be very interesting.
Yeah, you really just want to keep the leaders close for the first half of this race, settle into a rhythm, like you just said, and and then you go for broke in that last 35, 36 laps. There are no tire changes, so it would behoove you to take care of that car and get a nice rhythm going for that first half, and then start to use that thing up as we get into the last 30 laps of this race. Remember, just over 20 seconds a lap. If you can get into a groove, it'll go by pretty quick on you. It'll get away from you before you know it. So, yeah, the key tonight is definitely going to be how you run the first half of this race, and then, like I said, go for broke in the second half. But, you want to take care of the tires, too. You don't want to beat them up too much in the early half of this race because, again, you don't get any tires here. If you put that thing up on the jack, you lose your points.
And that's going to keep these drivers honest. As always, 75 laps on tap tonight. Going to accumulate to 57 miles around when we go from green to checkered flag in this one at this 3/4 mile speedway, the U.S. International Speedway, for the Lakeland 75, race 3 of 11. And as always, we're glad to have you with us on the Global Sim Racing channel. First race was exciting at Martinsville. We roll forward into Stafford, another one that saw drama and contact up at the front of the field. And we always talk about how these SKs, they're made to race good as opposed to being something that you'd see on the showroom floor. They're unlike really any other oval car track that you'll see, Sean. They got that front bumper on that machine, typically referred to as the Chrome Horn. USA International Speedway, a little bit faster than Stafford. We're running pretty much the same lap times, though. They're going about 20 around for the most part as this session comes to a close.
Yeah, and, again, we were only on a half-mile track last week. Now we're 3/4 of a mile, and they are running the same lap time. So that should tell you how much faster the cars really are here. This is going to be a really interesting race tonight. I'm really looking forward to this one. We're going to see high-speed drama tonight here in Lakeland, Florida at the USA International Speedway. Looks like our grid is ready, Evan, and I think I'll let you take the top 5.
Hey, let's let you know where everybody's going to stack up in the Bootleg Racing League Outlaw Modified Series starting grid. It's the driver that enters 4th in the championship standings. At an average start of 3rd, he'll grid up P1 this evening. Donnie Moore in the number 26 car will be on pole position. And a defending series champion piloting the 55 Lowell Jewel will start alongside in 2nd. Row number 2 inside P3, the 21 of Matt Hoos, Ryan Nuss on the outside in 4th. And rounding out your top 5, 5 on the inside of row number 3 is the 76 machine. We talked about him looking for a good run and maybe a dark horse in this championship picture, although it is still early, is Brad Speidel.
Yeah, and starting right there on the outside of Brad Speidel is going to be Matt Shinowski, a guy who's certainly in this hunt, in the number 35. And then starting back on the 4th row on the inside, Christopher Hensley, our winner from last week in the Teamsters machine, and he'll be starting 7th tonight. Brian Neff starting on that same row with him there on the outside in the number 60. Brian was a contender last week and had a cutoff for him there in the late stages. And there in 9th, we've got Dennis Ellis, and rounding out the top 10 in the 05 machine, Kenny Morris.
Continuing on, the final 2 cars on your screen right now. P11 is the 19 of Philip Temples, and Ernest Brown will be on the outside of row number 6 in the number 12 spot. Unlucky or lucky number 13 will go to the 34 of Tyler Young, Ronald Henry, and Michael Halloway will round out our field. The pace car cycles around quarter 4 one more time. We'll get the one to go this time around, and then we get set to unleash the 15 beasts, we'll call them, to get going. We go into this race, USA International Speedway. If you look at a track layout, it looks like the same shape, Sean. It drives very differently than both Martinsville and Stafford. What do you think is going to be the key to put her in victory lane?
I think the key is going to be how close you get that thing down on the yellow line. You can get that tire right on the yellow line and have plenty of grip, but man, if you get just below it, watch out. That rear end's going to snap out on you. The ground pounders are ready to go here, Evan.
And we're ready to rock and roll as well. Johnny Moore, pole position. Is that where he'll be able to wrap this one up? They have one quick fix, one more car sitting in the pits. Will somebody have to use that? The pace car is down and away. Johnny Moore on the loud pedal. Green flag flies as we round at a quarter 4 across the start-finish line. And lap number 1 of 75 is in the works. We're racing in the Lakeland 75. The leader setting sail. Great restart by that 26.
We got him spinning here in turn 2, spinning off of 2.
Big trouble, Brian Neff, Philip Temples, at least 2 cars turned around in corner number 2. Caution very quickly out. You mentioned who can get the closest to that yellow line, Sean. Well, somebody wanted to find out very early. Dennis Ellis tried to make an inside move on the 09 car in front of, rather, the 60 of Brian Neff. And all Neff was doing really was following the cars in front of him. At 7 tried to make a move. It looks like Dennis got into him on the left rear, and it turned that Winn-Dixie machine around. And then that's where it really all started, coming at it too. A couple other people had no way around it. Philip Temples comes in. He gets collected, the 34 at least in this. Looks like another machine with some damage, the 05 of Kenny Morris. And very quickly after what was a nice clean practice session, trouble strikes early on lap number 1.
Yeah, and I'll tell you somebody who right now is, he had a pucker moment. Old Ronald Henry there from Texas, number 75 machine. He was right behind all that action. He managed to get that Lone Star machine just under that in time to avoid any damage on that car. Ronald Henry still looking strong back there, but he gains a few spots as a result there of the guys in front of him getting checked up there and getting spun around.
Something else that helps you out in these cars is if you're starting to bounce off each other. We talk about how they have open suspension, so if you get especially the front tires in comparison to the back, you get them into something, that's going to hurt a lot. When you spin out, you do have the advantage that you got these bars around a lot of it that protects it. And so far, nobody having to deal with going a lap down. Restart procedures are going to be double file. Lap cars will be sent to the back, depending on if there's any way they get all shuffled up with pit stops. Nothing of that going on at this point in the race, but we do double the back up. The light's still on the pace car. Everybody anticipating. Looks like we'll be set to go back at it when we take lap 6. We're currently working lap 4. Still Johnny Moore, only change really inside the top 5 is a couple of shuffling of positions. Matt Hoos, who started 3rd, the inside of row 2 is infamously better to start on in the outside of row number 1, so he started 3rd. He'll be 2nd this time. The car that he passed is going to be where he was stacked up the previous time. Defending series champion Lowell Jewell in that number 55 machine going to be in P3. Ryan Nuss just minding his P's and Q's. The 13 machine sits 4th. Matt Chinowski's up to 5th after starting 6th. He'll swap starting spots after Brad Speidel started there. Speidel will now be on the outside of row 3 in 6th.
Yeah, and that was just a tough break there. I mean, with that yellow flag, I mean, it was just close contact. I mean, 2 guys going for the same space, really were giving each other room, but sometimes that the right side on these cars is stuck out, and it's a little harder to judge. And I really think Dennis just didn't do anything wrong there. It's just one of those deals, one of those racing deals, and we're about ready to get back to green flag racing. This thing is going to be settled with everybody still on the lead lap.
Yeah, so far, we've had a couple of incidents, and then one in corner 2 there, actually, on the start. It did involve a couple of machines, and a couple of them were pretty good licks, but nobody really got torn up all that badly. Same thing can't be said when we talked about the results from Stafford, which was a rough and tough from race. The lights are now extinguished on top of the iRacing.com. Ford first, Mustang pace car at the front of the field. Championship leader and winner from 1 week ago. Looking to make it back-to-back, Christopher Hensley. Keep an eye on him. He's back in 7th. Shadowski, Speidel, Nuss, and Hoos were everybody else inside of the top 5 1 week ago, and they pretty much all sit right now inside of the top 6 just in front of Hensley. So, as always, the cream rising to the top early with that top 8 inversion from 1 week ago. The pace car going to take the sharp left-hand turn now and down to the safety of the pit lane. Once again, who's going to be in control of this one? Green flag gets set to fly out of corner number 4. He's on the loud pedal, back at it, and there you go. See, trying to anticipate that restart, but the control car on the inside, Sean, waited a little bit longer. 21 unable to gauge it correctly, and Tony Moore sails off to corner 2.
Oh, we got him spinning again in 2. That looks like it was the number 7 there, Dennis Ellis, back there in turn 2, spun, and the yellow flag is back out. Ellis hard up into the fence.
He gets that thing back going, but you'll see right off of this restart coming towards us, that 7 machine, just a tap from the inside right there. Looks like the 34 got into him, trying to save it, and when he came back down and hit the 34 once again, shot up the racetrack. Pretty good lick on the number 8 machine, an innocent victim and all of that. Ernest Brown may have picked up some significant damage after he really plowed into the back of that car that was spinning up the racetrack, and race control reminding everybody to take it easy. We talked about how it's easy to get into a rhythm here, Sean. Maybe we should correct that statement and say it's easy to maintain a rhythm, not easy to get into it, because these double file restarts so far have proven quite tricky.
Yeah, they have. I've looked at that replay a couple times, though. It looked like netcode. He was really, I saw space on the screen. They were really not that close. The rear end of that car just went around. I don't know. I guess it depends on which replay you're looking at, but man, like I said, it looked awful close to me. I just don't know what happened there, but hey, we're going to get back to green flag here in just a second. That's fine. They'll get this field reshuffled. Nobody's going to lose a lap here at this point. Tough break for Kenny Morris there. Tough break for Dennis Ellis, but like I said, we're going to get back to racing here. We got plenty of race left here in front of us, and I still expect to see a really exciting one here develop in front of us, maybe right after this caution here, Evan.
Yeah, and you typically see, if you're going to follow, the way that these races typically go, an update on the pit lane situation. Ernest Brown as well, coming down to the pit lane as well. He lost the engine, actually, when he got right up to his stall, so evidently did have to take that backup car out of the pits, and he's back on track. But now you're out of mulligans. Back to the point, though, the way that these races typically go is you get a couple of cautions at the start, a handful. Everybody's got to get things sorted out. Then we're gonna get to a point in this race, I'm confident in, Sean, that we're going to see those long green flag stretches. Everybody spreads out. Maybe some guys that feel like they should be a little bit higher up than where they sit. Like, you look at the guy like a Ronald Henry, scored 14th right now. He was fastest in practice. If you look at the numbers, he should be going forward. A guy like Lowell Jewell, coming into this as a defending series champion, hasn't quite gotten going on the right foot that he wanted, was 13th in practice, sits right now 2nd on the racetrack. Statistically speaking, that car should be going backwards, but it's this point in the race when we get to that long green flag stretch where you'll see everybody really end up where they should be, because everybody will start to balance out as they go through those battles as the lights go out now on top of the pace car. And then when we go forward from that second half of the race, when maybe we'll see a couple more yellows as we get to the latter stage of the event, that's when passing becomes even harder, because everybody's going to be around people have such equal speed.
Yeah, well, we'll see how the start is. We got backed up there on that last restart. Let's see how this start goes. Let's see if Donnie Moore gets on the pedal a little bit quicker. Certainly, if you're Matt Hoos, you're probably going to lay off a little bit this time.
Yeah, Hoos not quite as aggressive on the anticipation in that one. We head pretty much 2 abreast down to corner 1 from row 2 on back. The top 2 get things sorted out very quickly. Lowell Jewell, who restarted in 3rd, can win the battle in comparison to Matt Shadowski, who's up on the outside lane. He slides back a little bit. We're clean down to 3 and 4, and 13 car of Ryan Nuss going to make a move. A lot of fighting inside the top 5, and really all it involves is the 35 car going backwards.
Yeah, and Dennis Ellis dropped to the inside and went all the way to the back. Kenny Morris is back in the pit. I don't know if he's going to park that thing for the night or what, but yeah, Dennis got off the pedal and just dropped to the inside, and now looks like Dennis is just trying to get in a rhythm and race the track right now.
Single file out for the moment now, side by side inside the top 3. Lowell Jewell going to be the car under attack, and the person advancing their position, Ryan Nuss, who has shown some significant improvement throughout the evening after being 12th in practice. He started in 5th, and he wants more. Made a pass on the restart on that one of Monchinowski, and now making another one on Lowell Jewell. He'll move up and give P3 to number 13. He'll bring company with him, the 63 of Christopher Hensley, looking to go back-to-back to victory lane. He follows him through. One car slow on the apron, just now exiting the pit lane. That is that Kenny Morris entry. He'll be at least 1 lap down. Believe he'll fall too.
Yeah, and Tyler Young is now in the pits. It looks like that right front got a little beat up. I think he caught some of the fence on one of those exits there, and he is bringing that car slowly into his pit box right now. Going to probably get some repair, maybe switch that car out, take the backup off the trailer, and get back in this race.
Caution flag back out. Big trouble down the back straightaway. Multiple cars, at least 4 or 5 of them involved after we just got spread out. Heavy damage on a driver that we have just talked about. 35 MAV TV American Real entry of Matt Shinowski has damage. The replay right there, you see it all starts at a corner number 2. The 13, who was flat flying around this racetrack, just got a little bit too greedy up on that outside lane, pancaked the outside wall, and didn't actually come down, but it was everybody trying to get around him and not plow into them that Shinowski made that move to the inside. Little did he know, Sean, that the 13 machine, or rather the 31, or it is the 13 of Ryan Nuss, got into him, and then a whole bunch more contact. The 31, obviously, in that we talked about. The 75, Ronald Henry with nowhere to go, and Brian Neff also. At least 5, 6, maybe even 7 cars taking up at least some sort of piece in that. Almost half the field having trouble that time at a 2. And for the 3rd time this evening, we see a safety clean caution slows us down at lap 17.
Yeah, and Henry actually, his incident was on his own because he got into the fence coming off the turn, and it spun that car to the left, and then he clipped the car inside of him, and he went for a wild spin, brings that car into the pit, and is back under power now here, right behind the number 60 of Brian Neff.
And you saw some of those guys that did come down the pit lane for service. Matt Shinowski, Brand Speidel exiting the pit lane. Somebody else is down on the front stretch. Dennis Ellis is in right now. That 7 machine is looking to get some repairs. 2 drivers have now fallen off the lead lap status. We talked about Kenny Morris, how he was on the pit lane, got back out, and just got lapped as he was exiting there on the apron, so he falls to 2 laps down. Tyler Young is scored as -3 after starting in 13th position, so that puts us with 13 on the lead lap over many of those drivers are currently attempting to get things fixed. These guys are running fixed setups, as we mentioned, a 50% fuel cell, so sometimes fuel may be an issue, but the biggest thing, and I know, Sean, you touched on it before the race, is you're not allowed to take tires, so you know, you get sideways, you lock them up, you save it. If you're getting a quick fix, I guess you get new tires, so that's one way around that. But other than that, every time you spin, every time you get sideways, every time you smoke the tires, they get heated up, and you can't just come down and get fresh ones. That'll affect you for the rest of the evening.
Yes, it will, but tough break for Tyler Young there. He still has some damage on that car, but I just wonder if he's knocked the toe out on that right front, it may be tough for him to make anything up at this point, as he is 3 laps down, and Kenny's only 2 laps down, and now we've got Ernest Brown showing a lap down too. So going to be a tough night for Tyler Young. He's going to have to do a lot of work to get that car back on the lead lap. It might just be impossible if we finally get that green flag run here on the restart.
It is the SPCA number 26 of Donnie Moore who continues to lead in Lakeland, Florida. The lights on top of our iRacing pace car this time by have been extinguished, so we're going to get going once again. Cross over to take lap number 22 as we work 21 right now. The front row, same old song and dance after our second restart of it. Donnie Moore, Matt Hoos on the second time around, thought he was smart, tried to guess it. ended up way in front of that number 26, had to back off it because you can't beat the leader to the start-finish line. And in the end, it was still that 26 that won that battle. So again, Moore has, from when the pace car hits pit road to the sim actually throwing the green flag at the end of the restart box to get on the loud pedal. That is quite a couple of seconds. Let's see what strategy he takes to this one. The pace car out of the way. The 26 in control, holds the field at bay. You see the 21 trying to inch forward and forward. Now the green flag flies, and we're back at it at the USA International Speedway. A good challenge for a second from the 63 car, Christopher Hensley. He's all over the back of Matt Hoos.
He's putting the horn to him for sure. Hensley wants to get up to the front. He is our winner from last week at Stafford, and he is really, really working the rear bumper of that car right now. Hensley just trying to get up there to the front, back of the field, off to a pretty good start. Everybody kind of spreading out right now. Only one car left on the outside. That would be the number 31 machine.
And that is the 31 of Michael Holloway, and it looks like he'll find a spot in line right in front of the 13. So as they settle down in front of them, the new battle begins. To the inside, try to make an advancement, goes the number 63 car, and you see the 19 now, Philip Temples, up on the outside lane. The 60 of Brian Knapp will also complete a pass on him. And once one person gets to your inside, it's very hard to make that stop because Knapp had friends on that one. He brings Holloway with him. He is now bringing as well the 75 car through of Ronald Henry. The 19 machine, Philip Temples, one bobble. Concussion right there, at least 4 or 5 spots. It's not done yet. He tries to stop the bleeding. The 7 of Dennis Ellis with a good run to the inside. Going to pick up yet again another position.
Yeah, and Temples is just falling right now. Just lap after lap. He is back to the back of the field. Now, well, looks like he prefers that middle line, but it's not helping him out because he is losing spots. As Henry is now in front of him, and Dennis Ellis is now got in front of him as well. Brad Speidel making his way up through the field too.
Tyler Young is back down to the pit lane in the number 34 car. This may be it for that team. He is putting tires on that, so the crew may just be putting new tires on it to take it behind the wall. He has returned to the pit lane 4 laps down, and at least at this point looks like he is well out of contention. Ernest Brown as well is out of this race. Those cars are now both parked on the pit lane, appear to be out of contention, both Young and Brown in 14th and 15th. How about we go on board, take a look from that 63 of Christopher Hensley. He rides in third. You see 2 cars in front of him. That's the only thing separating him from the top spot right now. He was all over the back of Hoos on the restart. He is still all over the back of him, this time to the inside, trying to get a nose. Can he get it? No. Door shut that time by 21, maintains P2.
Now the top 3 have broken away, but there's an interesting battle still going on here. I mean, Lowell Jewell. Oh, and we got a yellow flag. It must have been here at the back of the field.
Oh, it's a parking lot down in the corner. Caution flag flies. Big trouble for the second time back-to-back, this time in corner number 4. We talked about how top 3 were pulling away. I guess nobody else was getting away from each other. A stack-up occurred in the corner. Looks like it started with the 60 of Brian Nebb. You saw an overhead view of one of the cars that came into this incident. We talked about when you're in a single file line, it looks calm, but one person checks up, you can go downhill very quickly, and you see Neff enter the corner. Right behind him is the number 31 of Michael Holloway. Holloway gets into the left rear. They all get stacked up. The 13 machine comes into this one as well. Everybody piles in. The 75 car, the 7. Looks like at least 6 cars if you add the 76 car to that total as well. Caution flag flies. Oh, the 19 spins into it also. A big incident down in 4. 2 back-to-back huge ones involving at least half the field. That's what happens when the incident happens mid-pack, and that's really where the bulk of cars are, because that's where everybody's trying to get their race car sorted out. If you're at front, you like what you got. If you're mid-pack, you're kind of working on some things. An issue happens there. It's very hard to avoid it, especially where these incidents are happening, Sean. They're not happening into a corner where the guys behind them can kind of check up before they even really get on the brakes to commit to that corner. They're coming on exit where you can't just decide to turn that race car any more to the left or go any more up the hill, because once you're going through the corner, there's a reason you're taking it that way. It's because it's really the only way it works. You're such on the ragged edge with these cars, and that one, unfortunately, for everybody behind in a bad spot, and brings out yet again another caution. We slow them down. Donnie Moore, though, still smooth sailing for the SPCA number 26. He continues to lead.
Well, Michael Holloway in that Folds of Honor machine there, the number 31, he had quite a run going there on the 60 of Brian Neff, and Brian just in the wrong spot of the track right there, as Holloway, like I said, got that run and just a little bit of the horn and the right front tire get the rear left of that machine, send it spinning around, and then the 13 machine, he gets into the back there of Holloway, and it just causes that chain reaction that you were just talking about that, like you said, caused a big parking lot there in the turn. But hopefully these guys are going to get these machines fixed, get back out here, and be able to finish the second half of this race on the lead lap.
This will now take down our total tally to 11 cars on the lead lap, and many of which are currently on the pit lane. I know Michael Holloway, that Folds of Honor car you talked about, he is still in the stall, and not a lot of action going around that machine as far as moving anywhere. Now he'll get back going after they fill that machine up. The crew takes a look over it and make sure that it's as good as they can get it. He gets that machine now back out onto track at foldsofhonor.org. Number 31 machine. So he'll be the final car on the lead lap. Wave by going by just behind us. That's the only machine that's one lap off the pace. Kenny Morris in the 05 machine. That's the Harley Davidson entry. Going to get back to the lead lap, so we'll have a total of 12 for this next restart. As once again, Donnie Moore electing the inside lane. Lights still on the pace car. We expect those to go off here very soon, as now everybody group back up. Next car that would be in a spot for Lucky Dog is Ryan Nuss. However, he is 2 laps down, and that machine is not moving. The 13 is on the pit lane. The crew continuing to take a look at it, and it looks like it's not going to be a good end to the night for that camp.
Yeah, tough night for Ryan. I expected him to be a contender night. I hate that for him. Yeah, that's going to be a tough break this week. Hitting the points for sure. Lowell talking to the field now, telling them to just kind of settle down. We got a lot of racing left here.
And it was the top 3 who pulled away the last time. Can they show the same dominance this time around? So far, Donnie Moore, he's been challenged, but nobody's been able to get a peek to him. The last time we saw Hensley desperately trying to get around Matt Hoos, but was unable to get the position. You can catch him, but passing him is a completely different story. The pace car dives down to the safety of the pit lane. The number 26 in control once again holds the field the longest time he has all evening long, and now back at it. Loud on the loud pedal down to quarter number 1. He's good. It's a fight for second. This is the best opportunity for Hensley to get the job done. Can he get clear sideways? Both of them. The 21 is able to keep the nose on the outside down the back straightaway. Inside should prevail in 3. It does give P2 to Christopher Hensley, and he'll get a shot on the exit of 4.
Hensley with a great start there. Really, really great start. He was on the loud pedal, like you say. He was on it quick, and he was right there, allowing him to make that move and get up to second spot. And Hensley is going to be a contender tonight for sure.
Somebody's caught the fence at a quarter number 4, maybe the 35 of Matt Janoski. He had slowed when he caught the fence, is able to keep it going, but got very close to it as well. Looks like maybe Philip Temple's catching a piece of the wall right behind him. Sean, when you're single file, you're using that car in front of you to gauge what to do. It's a lot of time that you'll see our leaders on a restart. The leader may almost underestimate what he can do into the corner because the car behind him has a vantage point to take his line off of. That going said, you're following somebody. If they hit the wall off the corner, a lot of time, a couple of guys behind him will hit him as well. We look on board with Lil Jewel as he looks back at a couple of battles.
Yeah, and that was Temples that hit it pretty hard. Probably got a little bit of right front damage on that car. It's going to make it hard to turn as he's now getting 2 cars below him there. Michael Holloway and Brad Speidel do get in front of Philip Temples. He's having trouble handling that machine right now, and he hit it pretty hard. He got the car up on 2 wheels, so be interested to see if he's got anything left to get back in front of these guys, but it does look like Holloway and Speidel are starting to pull away.
It's getting dicey up front and forcing his way to the inside. Christopher Hensley took the nose there. The 26 did not give him an inch, and Hensley got pretty much as close to him as he could without hitting him actually, and moved Donnie Moore out of the way. And now that number 63 machine can go from 7th on the grid all the way up and is up front at the moment. We got 2x2, 2 rows deep coming out of quarter number 4 as well. It's a fight inside of the top 5. The first one's going at it for 3rd. It's Ronald Henry on the inside and contact. The 21 man Hoos gets into him. Hoos slides up the hill as well. The 60 Brian Neff going to put another pass on him, and then also Lowell Jewel fighting with Matt Shadowski down to the corner. A big pack of cars. This is exactly the spot that led to big troubles on our last caution. So far they're duking it out. We're still green, but very hard battles.
And Lowell is stuck up there on the outside right now, having a battle with Michael Holloway in the 31 machine. He's losing that battle right now as Lowell is still stuck up there on the outside, and Holloway is down there secure on the inside. And now here Brad Speidel getting around Lowell Jewell now, and it looks like Lowell's just, like I said, just can't get back in line. Looks like he's going to get a chance to do it now as Speidel does complete that move on Lowell Jewell.
12 remain on the lead lap. The top 3 last time pulling away, this time the top 1. It is the 63 of Christopher Hensley, championship leader, trying to set sail into the USA International Speedway lights. He's 0.6 of a second over Donnie Moore. Moore is absolutely about a straightaway away from everybody else. Ronald Henry third on back, 2.3 second markers off of the top 2 right now. And Henry's got to fight because look at that, the 60 Winn-Dixie entry actually going to make a move on the outside, going to the bottom out of 4. And now Neff has the inside. It's forced Henry to the top, and so far we haven't seen anybody be able to do anything with the outside all night long. This time, for the first time, just as we say that, he does it. Neff got sideways, and Henry defends that podium position for the moment.
You know, I'm pretty amazed at what Christopher Hensley's doing. I got to be honest with you, for a guy who told us just a few weeks ago that he just doesn't have a whole lot of experience in his cars. He is driving these things like he's been in them for years, and he is just tearing the wheels off of that machine right tonight. And we go on board with Brad Speidel, who is in a dogfight himself here. Those 4 or 5 cars right there are really fighting hard. Speidel looking at the rear deck of Michael Holloway, trying to find a way to get around him, hoping for a mistake. That's the best he can hope for at this point, is he's going to have to get under him to make a move, because I don't think he can do it on the outside here, Evan.
I'll tell you one thing, Matt Hoos is not a 9th place car, but he is back there now, and now slowing to the pit lane comes the number 21. Led this race, was forced to the outside lane again. He was right up there with Donnie Moore. The 26 has dominated so far, but it was Matt Hoos who had led at the stripe maybe once or twice by a nose length, got forced to the outside, went backwards very quickly, and now the 21 is down the pit lane. He's not the only one though. Somebody else is in. Philip Temple's the 19 as well.
Yeah, Phillips decided to bring that car down too. Like I said before, he got into the wall pretty hard, probably needs repair, knocked the toe out in that machine, and once you do that on that right front, you knock the toe out. You just can't turn this thing. You're going to be rim riding all night if you don't get that thing repaired.
And both of those cars will lose a lead lap status as they hit the pit lane. Matt Hoos is officially out of this race. They have retired, and that machine goes behind the wall. It was Hensley who was really checking out once he got around Donnie Moore. Moore slid back to 6/10 of a second in about 2 corners. Well, now that is kind of balanced out at that. You take a look out the back deck lid of the Ronald Henry car. He is 2.7 seconds off of the top spot, so now 2.8. Don't even forget about looking out the front of that. But behind him is where all the action is. And catching the fence right there. Maybe he was looking behind him. Big contact on the inside wall. Caution flag will fly. I was just about to say, Sean, that if there's a lot going on, you might get caught looking in the rearview mirror. That may be exactly what happened. Replay up now after he absolutely knocked down the turn 2 wall right there. Big into the inside fence. Caution flag is out, and a terrible break for that Lone Star State entry.
Yeah, and Brian Neff got a piece of it too coming out. He monkey see, monkey do right there, but that was a hard hit for Ronald Henry, really hard hit, and that car has got a lot of damage on it, and I hope he has a repair left. I'm not sure if he does, because he did have trouble earlier, so we're about to see what happens here, but that is a tough break for Matt Hoos too, to be out of this race and lose those points. He's not going to like that. Started 3rd and is now out of this race, but Henry was having a heck of a run right there, up to 3rd place from 14th where he started, and now he's going to have to take that thing in and either work with damage or work with a clean car.
The big thing for Hoos is entering this championship tonight, 2nd, only off by 1 marker. He's shown right now in 12th position. Everybody else behind him is off the track, so he'll not get any worse. That means he'll walk out of here with 6 points, and unless there's any penalties assessed, he'll have 24 at the end of the evening. Christopher Hensley right now, though, is in 1st. If he finishes where he sits right now, he'll exit tonight with 29, and there's a huge difference when we talk about these points from being 1 point off of the top spot and being 5 points off of the top spot.
Yeah, and it looks like Henry is in for serious repair right now because that car is still sitting on pit lane. He has dropped a lap down in the Lone Star of Texas machine there. Tough break for Ronald Henry. Like you said, might have been looking at his mirror there, out of his mirror there, because he had Brian Neff on his tail and wanted to keep that car in front of Neff, and in doing so, got just way too much of that fence coming off the turn, Evan.
And it does appear that that Lone Star Texas Grill number 75 of Ronald Henry machine may very well be done for the majority, at least at the end of this event. It is now, though, Teamsters entry. Christopher Hensley once again finds himself leading a race late on. We saw this exact same thing just 1 week ago at the Stafford Motor Speedway. He went on to not only win that, but as well take the championship lead. And tonight, after big trouble for some of his closest competition in this event, obviously it could be a big night for him to gain a lot.
Yeah, and Philip Temples gets a wave around there, so Philip going to get one more lap back. We talked about him earlier, maybe having a hard time getting back on the lead lap, but he does get that wave around, and now he's only 2 laps down. And as long as he can stay in front of Henry, if we get another caution, they'll go to a lap down, and who knows, might get a chance to get a top 10 finish here tonight. If he can, well, he is in 10th right now, but who knows where he could wind up. Anything can happen. I'm sure if Ronald can get that car back out here, we might have a race at the back of the field, but I don't know. I think, like you said, that car might be done as the lights are now off on that pace car.
This could be a big shot at it for the Donnie Moore car, who once Hensley got by him. Set sail. We've only seen one time tonight the outside work, but that means it is plausible. And Christopher Hensley is going to have the advantage of being the control car. Give up on Brian Neff quite yet. That car already up 5 spots, and again, typically he's going to be third in that Winn-Dixie entry. Typically third is better than second on a restart. Could it be the final time tonight? We're inside of 20 to go. 19 at the stripe. Pace car down and away, and Hensley, absolutely no hesitation. He set sail. The battle will be for third on back, as a good defensive move by Donnie Moore to maintain second. The 31 will lose the fight for third. Give it to Brian Neff, and Holloway will settle for fourth.
Yeah, Holloway tucked it right in there, though. He's not foolish. He knows that's where he needs to be. If he's got any chance to get a shot at Neff and get up on the podium tonight. But Hensley is just broke away from the field there. Got a nice jump on the start. He's right where he wants to be in the clean air. All he's racing right now is the track. I doubt very seriously he's even looking in that mirror at this point. If he's smart, he's not. He's focusing on the race in front of him, which is the track. Exactly that. And he is right now only got about, what do we have here? Well, we're down into the last almost 15 laps here, Evan.
Yeah, 19 to go at the restart, 15 not too far away. That puts us in really a very short stint shootout type situation if we are to see another caution flag. Moore doing better than he does on the last green stint. It was 6/10, now it's 3. Make it a little bit closer, down to 2/10 of a second after Christopher Hensley, the number 63, made a small bobble coming out of quarter number 4. Can that 63 keep it on track, or does Donnie Moore have anything left in the tank? You see behind him, side by side for third, trying to the inside, the 31 Folds of Honor.org entry. Holloway at the spot for a moment, could not maintain the position, and a number 60 machine of Brian Neff holds on to third for at least this time at a quarter number 4 once again. I don't think that 31 machine is quite done yet, though I feel Holloway going to make another go at him at least one more time.
Oh, Holloway is digging right now. He is digging hard, man. He is really trying to set up Neff. Couldn't do it right there, but he is digging that thing deep into the turns, keeping the left tires right there on the yellow line, getting off real well, not giving up any time to Neff right there. He is all over it. Look for it. And hey, listen, Matt Shinowski is right there behind Holloway. He's looking to make a move, and right now Holloway's got to be careful of what's behind him as he tries to get around the car in front of him. So interesting little battle here going on. Also still in this thing, Brad Speidel still in this race, and we talked about Speidel being a contender here. This could still be a top 3 finish for him if he plays his cards right. Oh, and on the turn, Holloway is in the fence.
Brian Neff got sideways and Michael Holloway into the outside wall. Still can't keep it off as those open right side tires scale the outside retaining wall. A bobble by the 60, and you knew he was driving hard, and he just gets the fence, and the right side of that car is torn up. Michael Holloway, you see right there on the replay, hard into the fence, and from battling for a top 5 and a top 3, maybe podium position, that car is forced down pit road with heavy damage.
And of course, you know, Matt Shinosky, a benefactor of that, and Neff still right there in the chase. And there's Brad Speidel again. You know, another spot forward for him with only 10 laps to go. We've got a battle to the green, to the checkers here, Evan.
It looks like, at least up front, as that gap between first and second has grown to 0.4 of a second, that as long as Christopher Hensley can keep that car pointed straight, he'll have no issues holding off Donnie Moore. Moore's able to close in, though, when Hensley makes a mistake. The battle for third much closer. You talked about Matt Shadowski. He's been able to move up into third in the MAF TV American Real entry. He started sixth, is third right now. P4, Brian Neff right behind Tim. As well, a good fight kind of going on for seventh. They thought about it, at least. Dennis Alice was actually under attack by Kenny Morris, and he's trying to pick up the pace and actually go after Lowell Jewell for sixth.
Yeah, and I'm still watching Brad Speidel. He just can't seem to get on the power quick enough as Neff continues to open it up just a little bit, and Shinosky doing the same to Neff. Shinosky actually getting a run now, coming up on some lap traffic, and that's only going to help him move a little further ahead. But Shinosky does seem to have third place locked in right now. He doesn't have much of a battle behind him, but Brad Speidel is still back there trying to get to him. I just don't know if he's going to be able to do it. It looks like Neff has put enough space between the two of them.
You're on board with the car that sits P8. It is the final car on the lead lap right now. You see a lapper, the 13, Ryan Nuss, yield to all of these guys as they fight through the corner. Kenny Morris trying to close in on those two cars in front of him, Dennis Ellis and Lowell Jewell, who are 7th and 6th respectively on the racetrack. These guys are pretty much 5 seconds off of the top spot, so they're not in that picture. However, still going to be fighting for top 10 spots, and it could be an interval as far as, you know, you get a couple, I think it's 3 spots, you get 9 points, the next 3 will be 8. Every single position can count, and because of how close we've seen the championship standings, that 1 point that you may decide to not go after could be huge later on in this championship. Side by side now for 6th, Ellis to the inside, Lowell Jewell on the defensive up high. They're side by side to corner 1.
Yeah, Ellis got to be happy with the run he's having right now after having really bad luck early in this race. He is trying to pull off a move on Lowell Jewell right now as they head into the turn. Dennis down there below keeps those tires on the yellow line. Is he going to make the race off the turn? And he is going to go across the line ahead of Lowell Jewell. So Dennis Ellis has worked his way up into 6th place now as Lowell is still stuck up there, and right now he's got to contend with Kenny Morris right there below him.
Jewell almost made that run off the quarter once again, fell 1 lap short on that. Kenny Morris still trying to see if he has anything left in the tank if he wants to fight for it. However, Christopher Hensley leading this field this time by will get the white flag for the penultimate time in 3 and 4. The number 63 car rounds out of 4. White flag in the air, 3/4 of a mile. So he goes to back-to-back trips to victory lane. Tonight, maybe a little bit harder than 1 week ago at Stafford Motor Speedway when he got his first checker on the season, bumped to the top of the championship. He will only improve on said gap heading into round 4. Race 3, checkered flag in the Lakeland 75. Give it to the 63. Christopher Hensley wins in Lakeland.
Yes, he does. Donnie Moore comes across in 2nd, and congratulations to Matt Shinosky to bring that car home in 3rd up on the podium.
Neff, Speidel round out the top 5. Alice, Jewell, and Morris, the final 8 cars that will remain on the lead lap in this one after 9th through 15th. We'll call Philip Temples a survivor because he's still out there on track, but at least 6 machines fell victim to what was a very tricky race under the lights on a short track Saturday night from the USA International Speedway. We will step off the microphones for a moment as Christopher Hensley celebrates on the front straightaway at the USA International Speedway. He's your winner in this evening's Lakeland 75. The post-race show coming up next on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll talk to the top three and we'll find that 63 car right where he is parked right there. Victory lane and more on the other side. Back live in Lakeland, Florida at the USA International Speedway Race 3 of 11. The Lakeland 75 for the Bootleg Racing League 2015 Season 2 of the Outlaw Modified Series has come to a close. Another exciting one down to the end, and we'll give you the full field rundown. The driver that wins this evening goes back-to-back, and he'll retain and if not only grow on his championship lead. Christopher Hensley takes home the checker flag tonight out of Michigan after starting P7. Our pole sitter, Donnie Moore, has to settle for second. Third position to Matt Chudowski. Brian Neff would come home in fourth, and rounding out your top five exactly where he started was that 76 of Brad Speidel. Sean?
Yeah, and Dennis Ellis, after finding some real trouble early, still manages a sixth-place finish tonight in a number 7 machine. The lucky number 7 puts her in 6th after starting 9th. League president Lowell Jewell in a number 55 finishes 7th tonight. Started in 2nd. Tough night for Lowell. Going to take a bit of a hit in the points championship there. And Kenny Morris just behind him in the 05 there, 8th place, rounds out the lead lap cars. In 9th, Philip Temples gets our Warrior of the Race award. Manages to bring that car home 9th, a couple laps down. Michael Holloway, tough break for him. He is going to finish this race 10th, 11 laps down after having a pretty good run and avoiding some trouble, overcoming some trouble, and then there late in the race just couldn't make it work.
How about those 3 Florida drivers outside on the top 10? All our Florida drivers, the hometown boys, Morris, Temples, and Holloway all together that rounded out our top 10. Rounding off our field tonight, Ronald Henry would come home in P11, a 12th position in favor of the 13 of Ryan Nelson. Everybody from this point on finished behind the wall in the pits and out of competition. A 13th position to Matt Hoos, who was up front for a lot of this race. A 14th position to Tyler Young, and Ernest Brown would have to settle for shotgun on the field. He finishes 58 laps down in our 75 lap affair in P12. Now I've caught up down on the pit lane with the driver that comes home third in this one, piloting the number 35 car, started 6th and comes home at a podium. We've caught up with Matt Chudowski. Matt, you come home with a podium in this event. It was a very interesting evening. We saw at least 2 big ones. We saw a lot of good action. A lot of people finding the outside of retaining wall. How was the night for you and that 35 gang? How'd you get the podium job done?
Boy, I'm really not sure myself. I was involved in at least one of those wrecks. But thank goodness we have one free reset, one free tow. And after that, I was just taking it easy, and I don't know, everything just opened up for me. I was able to pass a few cars and get up to third.
A fair question to ask. Getting through this one, it was a very exciting one. Everybody's out there to fix that up on that final green flag stint. We talked about the possibility when we got the final green flag at 19 laps to go. If we get another caution, will this be the final green flag stint? You finished 2.4 seconds off of Hensley Moore, so those guys were really pulling away on you guys there at the end. You had to hold on, though, a couple of battles there. Things got quite interesting at the end. Holloway in that mix as well. But coming home off of Hensley and Moore, they had to fight through some traffic, especially that 63 car. Everybody's out there on the same setup. Where do you think that maybe they were a little bit better than you in that 35 team that maybe they got you at?
Not sure. Most of the, like Chris and especially Chris, he's really good with these cars, and the rest of us, we're just doing as best as we can out there. It depends. Certain tracks, some guys are faster, so, you know.
It's about the, obviously, and we talked about USA when we went on about how you can run here if you're consistent. You're able to go through and be able to put up a solid run for it when it really is all said and done. You entered this one with a relatively moderate numbers, I guess. Your average start was 6th position. Made sense you started 6th tonight, almost like statistics make sense. Average finished though 5th. You're improving on that. Good news for you is a couple of the guys in front of you in the championship did not have the best finishes. You entered tonight 6th. Looks like you'll maybe be in a top 5 position rolling forward. There's still a lot of racing to go in this 2015 Season 2 championship. Does this give you guys in that 35 team maybe some more momentum? Keep knocking off some top 5, some podiums, get to victory lane, and maybe join that championship conversation?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Personally, I don't really think about the points this early in the season. Like you said, there's a long way to go. A lot more races to go.
Before we let you go, sponsors and shout-outs to people behind the scenes that make this possible. Matt, who you want to thank?
I just want to thank Lowell and Matt for running this league. They do a great job. and all of the other racers for taking time out of their lives to race every Saturday night, as well as you guys for broadcasting this.
Well, thanks for talking with us, Matt. Congratulations on your podium this evening from Lakeland, Florida. We wish you guys the best of luck rolling forward. I guess we'll see you at Oxford in 1 week's time.
All right, thank you, Evan. See you.
Again, it is your third place finisher this evening, piloting the number 35 car. Matt Shadowski comes home in the MAV TV American Real car, rounding out our podium. A little bit further down pit lane, a couple stalls away. In the number 1 pit box, he started on pole but comes home second. Sean Ambrose, you've caught up with Donnie Moore.
I have caught up with Donnie Moore down here on the pit lane now, and Donnie, great run for you tonight. You get a second place finish and a significant jump of the points. I believe you're going to jump to second tonight after this thing.
Hey, nice to meet you guys, and glad to finally be here. Geez, there's no stopping Hensley this season. He's tough to beat. He's tough to beat.
Donnie, you sound like a man who might be at Stafford Springs tomorrow for the tour race. Where are you from?
I am from New Hampshire.
Maybe a little bit far of a drive for you, but I had the area nailed. Maybe not the exact zip code, but the area. How'd that race develop for you tonight? I mean, you started on the pole, and you still wind up with a second place finish. It was a long race tonight. We had a lot of caution flags. So how did you? What kept you going tonight?
Yeah, there were just a few cautions at the first half of the race, but I was pleasantly surprised to find out I was on the pole. I didn't realize I was, but I wanted this race bad. I wanted this race tonight, but it didn't happen. So I'm a little disappointed for a second place, but normally I'd be happy. But in this instance, a little disappointed, but I'll take it.
Yeah, well, Christopher Hensley just seems to be hooked up right now, and I don't think there should be any shame in finishing second place tonight. I thought you had a heck of a run. Really great seeing you get around there tonight and get up on the podium. A great finish for you. You want to give a shout out to anybody, any sponsors tonight?
Definitely shout out to my wife who's watching back home. She's actually upstairs. But, yeah, she lets me do this stuff, so. And, hey, SPCA of New Hampshire's on the back of my car tonight, and so have your pet spayed and neutered, and donate to your local SPCA.
Well, that certainly is a great cause, certainly one I've followed over the many, many years of watching The Price is Right and being a fan of the great Bob Barker. I can definitely say I've always supported the SPCA, and yes, get those pets spayed and neutered. Donnie, great to have you in the booth tonight. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Hopefully we get you back in here with us next week.
Hey, also thanks to obviously Matt Hoos and Lowell Jewell, but all the competition here. Any of these guys can win in any given night, and also to everybody who donated to listen to you guys. You guys are a great job. It's fun to listen to you after the race here.
Well, Donnie, we thank you a lot, and again, it's my sincere hope we see you back here in the booth next week, because now, like I said, I believe you're up to second in points, and you can keep rattling off these top three finishes. You're going to be in good shape as we get deeper into this chase.
Hey, all right, buddy. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Donnie. Take care. Evan, back to you, buddy. About to talk to our leader, our winner.
I've noticed a common denominator when we've talked to everybody so far, and that is that they think that 63 car is very, very fast, and tonight was no different. Had to start 7th, had to work through some traffic, maybe took 50% of the race, but at that point did not look back, and back-to-back trips to victory lane, and only extending on what was a 1-point championship lead out of this one. Your winner tonight at the USA International Speedway. We're down in victory lane with Christopher Hensley. Chris, we just talked to you 1 week ago. This may become a recurring theme, but you were fast again in that Teamsters car. You were back in traffic, though, a little bit more this event. Took you a while to get up through there. Fought around Donnie, never looked back. How was the car?
Car was great. It wasn't quite as on rails as last week, but she was going good. Got up to third there behind Matt, and I kept working on him, kept working on him. Caution finally came out. I knew that was my only shot to get by Matt. He's protecting that inside, and I couldn't quite get the run on the inside, and I restarted real good there behind Donnie and was able to get second, and somehow pulled off getting by Donnie, and I don't think I was much faster than Donnie tonight, so I think I got pretty lucky on that one, and was able to keep it out front and came home with a win. Woo!
We said that the championship was 1 point. Well, the guy that entered 1 point off of you, who's had some issues, he finishes 13th in this one. So Donnie Moore's going to bump up to second. However, he finishes one spot behind you. So you will grow that championship gap just a little bit more. And it's hard to get confident when you talk about how a big gain in the points is considered 2 or 3. Considering one off night, you can drop 4 very quickly. So there's still a long way to go in this season. But obviously, you guys have to be, happy with the way you performed tonight. We asked some of the other drivers, they knew you were quick, and they could tell, and they said, it's hard to catch Chris because he's doing really good so far in this season, very, very fast, but they couldn't quite pinpoint where you were beating them. Do you feel like there was a specific part on the track tonight that you had a little bit of an edge over everybody else?
Not really tonight. If anything, maybe just through the middle and off the corner. But tonight, like I said, I was faster. I just wasn't quite right around the same as Donnie. Like I said, I'm lucky to get by Donnie. Matt was right there too, but I felt like I was a little quicker than Matt. Donnie and just lucky to get by. He stayed right there. Seemed like a couple laps I would grow the increment, and then a couple more laps he'd catch back up. So we were fairly close, but able to hold him off, I guess. Bring the trophy back to Michigan one more time.
And it was quite the drive for you guys this time, but you get the job done. We're going to be heading to a very different racetrack. We've kind of been used to the oval. We talked about how Martinsville kind of looks like Stafford, kind of looks like USA from above. They all drive very differently. 1 week's time going to be a completely different story. We head to the Oxford Plains Speedway. That track, there's no wall. There's a lot left and not a lot of straightaways on that track. What's the game plan going into there for the 63? Where's the confidence level attacking a track that's very different from anything we've seen so far?
Survive, I think.
That's fair.
I think I'm gonna just have to try to survive that one and go from there. I'm not real confident going in there, but with the momentum we got, maybe we'll make a show out of it. I don't know.
You put on one tonight, and you pick up your second checkered flag in a row, and you now sit atop the championship with 29 total points, 2 points over Brad Speidel, who sits second. You improved that average, finished to 4th after a rough way to get the season going, but it's on track, and it's looking pretty good. Before we let you go, as always, sir, sponsors and shout-outs, all those good people who you want to thank.
First and foremost, definitely Lowell and Matt putting on the league, having such great people in here. Always great to race with these guys. What a pleasure, I'm gonna tell you. And also want to thank my family, my wife Jessica, and my kids Mira, Walker, and Travis. And my wife will be having one any day now. Hopefully that doesn't play into missing next week, but you never know. And my nephew John, he's in the hospital right now, and prayers go out to him, and that'll be about it for tonight there.
We'll share those thoughts with you as well. Chris, as always, congratulations. If this becomes a habit, we might just need to get you a seat, but it's another good run for you guys. I know it's still early, but you topped the championship. Congratulations, good luck. We'll see you in Oxford.
Okay, you guys take it easy. Take care.
That is the man that sits atop the pile, and so far, according to everybody else, is unstoppable after the past 2 races, going back-to-back at Stafford and now in Lakeland. Wins this evening's Lakeland 75 from the USA International Speedway. That rolls us on to our next race at the Oxford Plains Speedway. The updated championship standings, we mentioned Hensley with 29, 2 points over Speidel, and 3 over Donnie Moore in the championship. He is the only driver inside the top 10 so far with a trip to victory lane. Before we head off the evening and get ready and get set to head out to Oxford Plains, Sean Ambrose, final thoughts before we close it out this evening.
Well, final thoughts are, I thought we had a great race. I think it was great to see a 2-time winner here early in the season. Christopher Hensley certainly looks like the guy to beat here early in this season. And, great run for Donnie Moore. Was kind of a little sad to see him there, not satisfied with finishing second. But I guess when you do start on the pole, anything less than finishing up front might be a little disappointing. Great run for Shinosky. He pulls off a podium finish after having a little bit of adversity there early. But we saw a great race tonight. USA Speedway, like you said in the opening here, is a well-traveled track. I think everybody in iRacing knows it pretty well. And I thought these drivers did a really good job tonight. We saw a little bit of attrition early, but that's okay. It all worked itself out in the end. Looking forward to getting to Oxford Plains, which is certainly a much different track. They're going to be cranking on that wheel pretty hard. They're going to be up on it, and you will see a lot of white knuckles next week under those gloves. And we were looking forward to getting there. Can't wait to be at Oxford Plains next week. And like I said, I thought we saw a great one tonight again. Congratulations to Christopher Hensley and his big win here tonight. And looking forward to running through this season here for 11 races. We started off again next week with Oxford Plains.
Yeah, although it was a gray and blue number 63 SK modified, the Teamsters entry of Christopher Hensley, who wins, Target might have to sponsor him, because that's exactly what is going to be on the back of that machine rolling forward, as he has asserted himself as one of the dominant cars only 3 races into this championship. There's a lot of people that we need to thank as well that allow us to do what we do. The people that assist with our streaming equipment, the iRacing.com Motorsport Simulator, XSplit for free and easy live streaming and recording, the Audio Technica Corporation, and Aver Media USA. Additional thanks as well to our camera sets, as always, that are provided by Dougie Beard, giving us the best angles on the action, and music provided by Eric Eckholm. Let him know where you heard it at ericeckholm.com. Stay up to date with the Global Sim Racing channel online at globalsimracingchannel.com, Twitter, GSR channel, or on Facebook at facebook.com/Global Sim Racing channel. A lot of action coming up this week on the Global Sim Racing channel. A doubleheader this Wednesday, April the 29th at 6:50 p.m. Pacific time. Champion Motorsports Sprint Series Round 5 from Laguna Seca, and just about 45 minutes after that, the Lionheart Racing Series Round 13 from the Atlanta Motor Speedway getting kicked off at 7:35 p.m. Pacific time. Both of those will be going at the same time, so if you're looking at 2 very different but very exciting forms of racing, make sure to tune into those. And then the Title Influence MX5 World Tour Series, Saturday, May the 2nd at 11:15 a.m. Pacific. And later on, we're back at it for the next race from Saturday, May 2nd, the Oxford 75 from Oxford Plains. Congratulations to Christopher Hensley, who wins tonight. On behalf of the broadcast crew, myself, Evan Pasoko, Sean Ambrose, and our director, Kevin Brown, we wish these drivers the best of luck rolling forward, and we will see you in Oxford Plains.